movement disorders. Just an introduction, dyskinesias are fast but involuntary movements, often repetitive and stereotypic patterns, combined to an alteration of a sensory motor mechanism to indicate no loss of muscle strength and present qualitative alteration of the movement or generate abnormal movement and posture. The key words of these are violence and instantaneity. We can consider the difference on user, caregivers, family, and on the economic and environmental. Just to be short, for user, the principal risk of injury and clinical complication, and for caregiver and family, increased burden, social isolation, and financial impact. For economic, environmental, increased funding and increased resources and time. We can see here three different clients, three different manifestations of movement disorders. The first client, he can sit on the chair, he points the head and the feet on the foot plates, and the second client is seated, locked by the pommel. Is a severe posterior pelvis tilt and is sit on the back. The third client, different manifestation of a disorder because we have the head, an high extensor tone, very symmetric, but he push on the foot plates and on the backrest in a different way. All these clients push on the back, on the headrest, on the foot plates, but they push in a different way. So how can we imagine to sit these clients in the same way, on the same chair, on a products, on a standard product, on a standard sitting solution? How can be made this chair for this client? To consider the point, to start the design for this chair, we have to consider for all individual. The user, the client as an individual with his background, natural history, pathology, needs, and then his posture problem. Deformities, movement disorders, intensity and frequency of movement, gravity force reaction. After that, we have to choose which kind of sit and back shapes, material, dimension, the strength and stability of the wheelchair frame, the wheelchair frame movement, how much has to be the intensity of this movement. Which part has to move, how much has to move. The height from seat to floor, because these influence their perception of stability. Their problem is, in the biggest part, a perception problem. And then the harmonic synergy between wheelchair and sitting system. As we know, the sitting posture is influenced before all from gravity force, and then from a kinematic, kinetic, sensory, and perceptual system. So, it's simple to understand the interaction between posture and movement. Posture stabilizes the body and can be dynamic as a static, but just for this, we can understand the key role of postural balance in the management of movement disorders. The difficult is to put together all the discipline that rotate around this case. as mechanics, biomechanics, ergonomics, physics, science of materials. So our history was the experience of a study that accomplished on movement disorder and their related positioning needs. We made the 2 steps. The first was a clinical and experimental research. The second step was industrial research. And the goal was to develop a dynamic, personalized, shock-absorbing positioning system for the management of movement disorders. Which was the concept? The concept is to be a machine designed to balance the body and gravitational loads by complying with the dyskinetic movements and the perceptive state of the clients. Equipped with the shock-absorbing materials and mechanisms, to allow a safe positioning system, harmonious and homogeneous surface of support, adhering and relaxing, and the beginning of a rehabilitation project useful to the client. Which were the actors? Was a young researcher, a biomechanical engineer in Italy, Polytechnic of Turin, 3 rehab units, 5 users, 3 dealers sitting specialists, and our company, manufacturer company. We developed the ITER, the study of pathology and its principal characteristic, the research, bibliographic research on the internet, etc., the recruiting of the user, the case analysis with the video recording, clinical reports, parents and caregiver reports, and then the development of the solution. Which component of the wheelchair make it dynamic? The prototyping, the verification of the solution design, and then the product, with the product development. For the clients, we developed a protocol, so to create a standard methodology to approach the clinical case, the introduction with the clinical team reports, parents and caregiver reports, and about the needs of the user, and then the pre-monitoring that fill a specific form to know the user pathology, the involuntary movement, the video recording, and then the monitoring. Verify the outcomes through the video and specific form to fill. The products we used was for seat, a modular kit who adapt to the body shape with the shock-absorbing materials to guarantee the pelvis total control, and 2 kinds of bags for each user. One customized bag with a lateral lordosis profile and thick memory foam elasticated cover. And the other one was with inside a kit to adapt to the body shape with the shock-absorbing material and aluminum shell. The wheelchair adopted, the concept was to manage and solve extensor movement, reduce muscular contraction with ensuring correct postural positioning and reduce the load of the wheelchair and seating system. Shock-absorbing backrest to allow for reward movement and fluid return to starting position, and then shock-absorbing leg rest and foot plates allow to both downward and forward extensor movement. I show you some clinical cases that can illustrate us how this system, this concept work. The first guy is the first you have seen in the beginning of my presentation, as 23 years old in dystonic quadriplegia, and a very, very big complication because he had many hypoxygenation crises, say bad, but he was very, very smart because he went to the university, so he wanted to study, interact with other people. And he broken the chair each time. He pushed so much on the headrest and on the foot plates. Then during the delivery, we adapted the system to the user needs, and he experimented the relaxed position and the postural comfort for first step. And then 1 month later, after the monitoring, his body experimented the adaptation to the positioning system. That family referred the reduction of extensor tone. After 1 year of delivery, decrease intensity and frequency of trunk and the head extensor tone, but the most important things was the start of voluntary movement of the head. So he started to control his body, he started to control the movement and try to give direction for the movement with respect to the goals. This is another severe, complicated case where we cannot, 20 years old, CT in an oxy brain, he has a severe anterior pelvis tilt, severe lumbar lordosis, high extensor tone, many wheelchair broken. At the delivery stage, he had a good symmetry, enhanced head control, explored dynamic chassis and maintaining position. And this is the video during the delivery. After 1 year, he had a reduction in extensor thrust episodes, positive effect on function, and he didn't take any more medicine for pain, and a small increase of voluntary tone again. He started to control the head movement. This other 20 years, dystonic quadriplegia, he can sit, he stressed so many chair, headrest, foot plates, but he didn't find the position for sit on the sit and back. During the delivery, also he improved the postural alignment, explored the dynamic movement, and after 2 years, again increased the voluntary tone, head direction, drive the direction of the head, enhance the communication. And this is the last case, 28 years. This the nature is non-associative, so it's a difficult relationship with the parents, so complete different pain of clients, but it was very agitated, blocked by Pullman, and he has a severe posterior pelvis tilt. And here, during the delivery, he's completely relaxed. Now we will start again to explore the movement, the possibility to give the movement. And we detected the contact area, not too much for pressure, but to understand how the changement in posture. And we detected, we made the frame in dynamic, but we detected the starting movement, the moment of the extensor thrust and the end movement with the old chair and with the new positioning system. And the detection of electromyography show a significant reduction in the involuntary contraction at the rectus femori muscle, bicipes brachii muscle, and the flexor carpi muscles. Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
How often therapists know prescribe this kind of wheelchair?
How often? It depends from the clients they have. It depends from country. It depends from how many time they have to take care about user clients. I think this play a big role, the time to spend with the client, the time they can review the client, because when start, I thought about rehabilitation project useful for the client. This is very important, but it needs to have many steps to follow the changement and make modification respect to the changement of the client. In Italy, our experience with this product at the moment is in Italy and the UK. There are some team of clinicians who take care, and they establish a protocol to follow this client, and it became more popular. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We don't have time for other questions, so we can continue that after the session. Thank you. Our third presenter is Jun Murakami.